How is it going, everybody? My name is Eddie, and welcome to a new series about Hawken, which is a first-person shooter game where you are controlling these giant walking mechs. It's pretty badass, it's pretty awesome. We're starting off with some gameplay here. I'm readying up for a classic team deathmatch. In case you're wondering, this is not live commentary. Yeah, we're in it. So, first reaction here that I had, and that I expect a lot of people to have, is, oh my god, this is confusing. Look at all the stuff on the screen. We got side panels there that don't serve a purpose. We've got a mini-map in the upper right. We've got lots of numbers down below. Fancy big crosshairs. And I have to say, it took a while to get used to the HUD. And I think it's very intentional that they have things on here that limit your vision and limit your field of view, things blocking on either side, and cutting off the top and bottom. I'm pretty sure that's intentional. Also, as you get damaged, you will see the windshield of the thing get scratches in it, and I at first hated it, now I love it. Great for the immersion. So here we are fighting an enemy. You can see I have two arms with weapons on it. The left one has a fully automatic close range submachine, and the right one has a rocket launcher. This is the mech you get when you start. This is a free-to-play game where you can play a lot and get experience to buy, get credits rather, to buy other mechs. It's also, you could also pay real money. They've done a great balance on the so it's not actually pay to win. And it's pretty easy to actually have a steady climb towards new mechs and stuff like that. So that's good to hear. What I just shot there was a little turret you can place, which I don't think you'll ever see me use, but I do have it. Okay, so this is one of the main features of the game. I only did it for a second there, but we're definitely going to see it again. You have the ability to kind of curl up in the fetal position on the ground and break out a little bot to heal you, which is very interesting because that means that if you get away from enemies, you can basically not die and start your life over again, because I also am pretty sure that there is infinite ammo in terms of the ammo for your guns. I think your other things you have certain ammo for, but your guns have infinite ammo. Also, every mech has fuel that it can use for sprinting around. It's that little orange gauge at the bottom and the middle of the screen, and sprinting. So sprinting around, and also jetpacking, which you'll see me kind of jetpack up here right now, I think. Yep, kind of glide up there. But yeah, so you can spec very different things. It's sort of the mechs. The different mechs kind of remind me of the tanks for a few reasons in World of Tanks. And that's because you can rank up, level up your mech, and then buy new ones and have them start at their base level again. And I'm pretty sure that's what determines your matchmaking. So this kind of reminds me of the tier system in World of Tanks. I could be wrong about that, though. That's a little shield you can pull up. Let's see how this goes. Nice, got him. I had a great game this game. You'll see. That's why I chose it. Actually, this first take of recording, I got pretty lucky. But anyway, so here's the healing. Here's the healing. Before I get back to my other point. So that little bot can come out and heal you a little bit. It heals you pretty slowly, and you're very vulnerable when you're being healed. But the other reason why it reminds me of World of Tanks is because you can go heavy tanks, which we'll see in this game for sure, and you can go light tanks, or some cross in between. I enjoy going very light. The tank that you're watching me play now moves significantly faster than, the mech that you're seeing me play, significantly faster than other mechs, and is a lot oriented for close range. That the fully automatic, the submachine gun cannon that I have on my left arm, is very powerful at close range. But it also overheats if you use it too much, so you can't really just run and spray. You have to you have to get in close and use it, or you overheat and your HUD will shut down and it's a disaster. I don't think there's a way to change out the rocket that you have on your right hand, which is good because it's a pretty high damage and low rate of fire. So if you're fast and you can sneak up behind someone, you can get a nice hit off of them with the rocket launcher and do some massive damage. So I think it's gonna be. No, never mind, it already happened. I was going to say there's going to be a cut soon, but it already happened. So, I don't know if I'll pull up my score anytime soon, but I think right about now is when I'm like 8-0. There's a heavy tank right there. You won't see it doing its thing at the moment. They always try to hide under that bridge. But yeah, so that's what I'm oriented on. There's also the heavy tanks, which have armor on the back of them that you can deploy so that you have limited mobility, but that on the front of you have a wall that is, I think pretty much impenetrable. I wasn't sure if this guy was AFK. I wasn't gonna kill him if he was, but he moved, so I figured why not go to town on him. As you can see, the thing really wrecks at close range. This was a close death here, but I decided to go behind this thing, let my teammate take care of it. And because when you're healing and you're so vulnerable, team play actually kind of comes into play. Like, there's no real communication between players, but you still are. I find myself relying a lot, surveying the area, seeing if there are any teammates around, because people tend to shoot at things that can shoot back first. Well, that's not exactly true. Actually, some people just want the easy kill. I don't know. Yeah, there's a good example of the flying around and its capabilities. Really enjoy it. But yeah, so the strategy is with the heavy tanks is to get yourself in a good, or it seems like to me, this is my first day playing, but it seems like if you can get yourself in a good position. Oh, and that little sidestep you see me do is a dodge move. Very effective dodge move. I can say that it doesn't mess you up that much when you perform it. You just sort of have to correct your crosshairs a little bit, turn a little bit to one side, but being on the other end and having someone else pull it, you really have to kind of adjust after they do it. That was a nice kill there because I got the rocket off first. And I checked the score there, and I missed it just now. Doing very well. I normally don't do this well. Oh, here's a heavy tank. You can see the panels on the top there are what he pulls in front. Use this time to do a bit of healing. And yeah, there we go. 9-0 right now. Which I doubt I'll ever see again. And yeah, so I much prefer the light tank play rather than staying at a distance or armoring up, and that's because it seems a bit more like it's more active, and it's more like there are more opportunities to trip up the other players. And there we go, I die for the first time. Yep, there's the mech loading up again. And you're back in. Standard Team Deathmatch. They have some other game modes that we'll play at some point, I'm sure. Not now, though. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just see what happens here. Yes, you can see by the score that it's right now 34-8, and I don't really know what happened to the other team, but you play to 50 or until the timer runs out. And my team's getting pretty close to 50. This was a bad move on my part. I saw him there, I thought he didn't see me, and I thought he'd go the other way, and I really badly needed to heal. It was a bad call. And now there was a cut right there to the point where I need to heal, and I kept this in because the heavy tank there, you can really see the armor on his back. They look badass, and they take a lot of fire, but they just kind of, as far as I can tell, to play them well, you stand in an alleyway and you sit there. And I like moving around to get behind people. Need all the heals. Get the little robot guy to come out. And that's basically it. That's basically the game. I would highly recommend it. Like I said, it is free to play. You know, visually, at first I hated it, the graphics. I thought it looked bleak and dismal, and they did a terrible job, and with big mechs you kind of expect big explosions everywhere, and I don't know, there kind of are big explosions, like that's a pretty big explosion, I guess. But I guess just big mechs, I just sort of assumed clunkier, bigger, badder things, because these things are actually pretty fragile and get around quite quickly. But then I realized that it was all in the immersion. I hated the HUD. Oh, that was bad right there. But I actually got that kill, or at least an assist, and it ended up being 50 to 16. Victory for us. Came in the head of the game, which I don't think I've ever done, and I don't think I ever will do again. And from here we're going to move on to the whole garage deal, where we look at the mechs and how to upgrade them and that kind of a thing. So I've already recorded that part, so yeah, we'll head on over to the garage. Alright, so here we are in the garage. I'm going to talk a quick bit about what we're looking at here. You saw the gameplay, now we'll talk about how it all ties in. Let's see, we have here the basics. It is our mech here on the left, and any others that we would have would be listed down here. And yeah, you can see some information about it here, just some general stats about how it's doing, about it, you know, what it's farther along in others, you know, rate of fire is for the submachine cannon, and then the rockets for everything else is got a higher everything else, but lower rate of fire, kind of complement each other nicely. And then we have the store, where you can buy other mechs, and as you can see in the game, we saw a few what I call pay-to-win tanks, because they generally do pretty well. That one that I saw, the other team wasn't particularly doing great. I'm not sure which of the three they were either. I think they were in this one. But, you know, you pay or you play a lot and you get it, and it's heavy. Actually, you know, now that I'm looking at the points required, it actually wouldn't take a whole great deal to get. So maybe not. Maybe it's not pay to win people. Maybe it's just people who've been playing for a lot longer than me. But it seems like a very different style of gameplay, a lot less moving, and a lot more taking lots of fire, positioning yourself in good positions, and then riding out a storm and hopefully coming out on top. If I were to equate the mech that I use to like a TF2 class, it would be the Scout. If I had to equate those mechs to a TF2 class, it would be the Heavy, or possibly, yeah, probably the Heavy, I guess. Anyways, that Heavy to 1 doesn't work out so well, but anyways, so we do have the two different kinds of currencies. There is the Hawken credits, which you get for playing. As you can see, we got quite a bit of we got about 150 last game, but that was a pretty good game. I'd say on average you get low 100s, you know, 100 teens, 120s, somewhere around there. On average, I have gotten 90 in some games, and as you saw, I got 150 in that one. And then if you pay, you can get these other points that I forget what they're called right now, but I personally won't be using them as far as I know, or don't see a need to at the moment, because I actually am getting a significant amount of, when you do the math, you'd only have, in order to get one of those big, let's just quickly do this, right? So assuming it costs about, assuming you get 150 per game. Let's just go low and say, assuming you get 100 per game, and assuming, we'll round up here, that this costs 6,500, then you would have to pay 65 games to get that. And we lowballed the, we rounded up on the price and we lowballed the points, so you probably have to play under 65, probably around 60 games, which, I mean, games aren't that long. I'd say if you really wanted to, you could do that in a week, probably. I mean, I've only been playing for one day, and I've already earned probably about 1,000. So, 6 days? I don't know. Anyways. Moving on to the customization of your mech. We have your primary weapon here, which I don't think you can, I don't know how to change the TOW, or the rocket launcher arm, the RPG arm, but you start off with the assault rifle, and that's longer range, but the spray gets really wide as you shoot, which is, I wasn't liking. Some machine cannon, which we use now, like I mentioned, is great at close range, and it heats up. That's the problem, is you heat up with it less than it gets inaccurate. But I do have that cooldown thing, which I always forget about and forget to use. And then I don't know if I really used this. I think I maybe used it once or twice in that game. But it is a turret that you can place down. It can take like 2 bullets before it's dead, so it's pretty ineffective in the sense of actually holding any ground. But the way that it's most effective is either you stand near it and an enemy looks at you while it starts wasting away at them, and it can do a decent amount of damage like that if you can hold out for long enough and hold their attention. The other option is for the enemy to turn to it, which they only do for a moment, but if you can get a missile at the backside of your enemy, or just, you know, sprint or dodge in the right place so that they're unable to, you know, you're able to get a few shots in before they're able to get a good look at you. Both of those can be pretty effective. There is some other things which I understand are kind of EMPs. I think shut down the HUD, the players, slow hovering explosives. Oh, okay, so there's kind of like landmines that you detonate, kind of like C4 it appears. There's also rocket turrets. I don't like the rocket turrets that much from what I've seen. I haven't used them. And also the machine gun, the MG turret was marked as popular, so I figured it was good. I haven't used the rocket turrets, but what seems to be their flaw is that it takes a while for them to shoot, and they're also very unarmored, so they don't tend to do a lot of damage if players turn to them first. I also think they cost a bit more credits. In certain situations I can definitely see how the rocket would be better, though. In situations where, like a long alleyway, I think I'd rather have a rocket at the end of it than a turret. But the turrets kind of survey the area a lot better, it seems. I don't know. I'm probably wrong about that. Anyway, shields. I don't use them. I'm not very good at using them. I always forget the key to use them, actually. It not coming to me. Mirror image. This is interesting. I didn't read this before. Projects a mirror image of the pilot's mech that works especially well as a decoy over long ranges. Very cool. And then this, you know, an area effect of repairing teammates, radar, anti-radar. And then the general shield is just that bubble that I think you saw. I don't think I used it, but I think we saw kind of you know, that it's protecting. Battery chargers, I'm a little unclear. I guess I thought they were supposed to be used automatically, but I think, yeah, I think they are used automatically. And you can choose basically whether or not you want to. I should equip the overheat one actually, because I overheat quite a bit. And then if, you know, safe against EMP, safe against radar scramblers, that kind of thing. So it just kind of saves you from one thing. So it kind of becomes a bit of a rocks, paper, scissors, shoot kind of game, except that there's ability to save yourself from the losing move. I guess it's sort of like a defensive rocks, paper, scissors, shoot. That's the best analogy I can come up with. And then we go into like the hardware of your mech, which doesn't change the appearance, but it's just sort of like general passive stats. You know, do you want your weapon to do more damage, like this one, which is the popular one, but then be less armorful? It does seem one that would be good for me. Also, if there's anything that would increase speed of mech, which I don't think has to do with this, I'm gonna leave it for now. But yeah, and then you have some other passive skills. What do we do with armor? This one has like a. The reason why this one's popular is because it's a repair rate regen kind of deal. So when you're holding this, when you go into the little thing, it regens a lot faster, but it takes longer to get down. So people probably have done the math and probably figured out that that's worth it if it's popular. I'm good with just keeping the one that's just a slightly better armor for now. Save my points for when I possibly want another mech. Then we have fuel, so the sprinting and the flying. You know, whether you want more of it or want it to regen quickly, or just some other skills, radar distance, that kind of thing. I like this one, the one that's plus 20% experience. I preferred to traverse the tech trees of my mechs than anything else. So this is the upgrades. We'll talk about the tech trees in a second. In the last match, I went from this as you play as a mech, it upgrades its rank. Sort of like the more you use it, the better it gets. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this is how matchmaking is done. So it's similar to the World of Tanks. If you use a certain tier tank, you get paired with other certain tier tanks. This is so like I'm generally going to be playing now against other, I guess you could call them tier 9 mechs. But I just earned an optimization point, which you spent on a tech tree, which I'll show you in just a second. But you can also unlock equipment to buy then. And you know, next one is going to be rocket speed. And what I hope that means is that the projectile is actually going to move faster, because that's my one complaint. One thing I can never deal with, it's one of the reasons why Tribes Ascend made me rage so much, is that everyone's flying at insane speeds and my projectiles were relatively, compared to their speeds, relatively slow. And it's just so much estimation of, you know, in your head about where the trajectory is going to land and where are they going to land. It was too much for me. I couldn't focus on it all at once. This game is very similar. It kind of seems like it's Tribes on steroids, in the sense that it's a little clunkier, but it works. Anyways, yeah. I've probably already talked about this. I'm recording this part before I record the commentary for the gameplay part, so I don't know what I've already said video-wise. Anyways. But yeah, so you just kind of advance up the ranks here, and you can, it looks like 25 is the max. And if that is true, then, you only have 25 points to spend in your trees. Here they are. And it's going to be interesting to figure out how to exactly to divide those up. But there's offense, defense, and movement. As I'm sure I've mentioned, I'm speccing into offense and movement, and so the things that I already have are some examples of things are, increased weapon damage, increased rate of fire, and increased walk speed. And I'm going to spend my point that I just got last match on acceleration, so it'll get up to its max speed quicker. And the way this works is there are these little ticks on the right side of each tree, and you have to spend that many points in each row before you can move on to the next row. So I spent 5 points excuse me, I spent 5 points in the offense row 1. Now I can start spending points in row 2, and I am working on spending 5 points in row 1 of movement so I can do row 2. Row 2 movement soon, that's my hope. And let's see. Body shop, you can use the real money points to upgrade the visuals. It doesn't do anything for your gameplay. And then there's style, like different things you can choose, like your colors, I guess. Don't really know how that works. Kind of changes the trim. I guess you can see it changing there on the Mac. But yeah, that's really it. I'm gonna play a lot more of this game. I'm gonna hopefully make a lot more videos of this game. Yep, really fun game. If I didn't mention it before, which I don't think I did, the name of my mech here is Zur, which is, I don't know, it's just me kind of typing in phonetically what I imagined, how you would phonetically type in like the sound of the mech moving, or maybe a electric drill or something like that. Yeah, so something that I rarely use. I don't know if I even talked about this, but something I rarely use is the weapons coolant, but I have to remember to do that because it looks good. Yeah, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about the game. I'd also love if you wanted to upload some footage of you playing the game, and then send me the link in a YouTube message. And if you upload it under the Creative Commons license, then I don't think there'll be any problem with me downloading it and then commentating over it, and just sort of giving my thoughts. I don't know a whole lot about the other mechs. That's my task for tonight, is to find out more about other mechs. But until then, until later date, I'm calling it here, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.